Right now before we start. We'll give it another minute or so. Okay, so welcome everyone to our Getting College Ready workshop. My name is Nasser and I'm the Student Outreach and Success Coordinator here at the Spartan Eastside Promise Program at San Jose State University. I actually graduated from an Eastside school, Andrew Hill, and I finished my degree in business back in 2022 here at San Jose State. And I'm so excited to go over how to get college ready with all the students and the parents and families here today. Okay, so for this evening, we will be covering resources for college exploration, how to prepare to meet the CSU, SJSU, and high school graduation requirements, the Spartan Eastside Promise program, and the services that are offered through the program, and how parents, guardians, and families can support your students in preparing for college today. So to start off, let's just share in the chat. Students, do you know what you want to major in? I'll give everyone a minute to just put that in the chat real quick, and then I'll share out some of the responses we get. So some of the responses are rolling in. I see a lot of STEM, so a lot of science, engineering, kinesiology, some business as well. So these are really popular programs here at San Jose State. We have a lot of engineering program opportunities, and our business program is renowned too, since we are in Silicon Valley. So thank you everyone for sharing. Go ahead and move on to the next slide here. So in order to pursue that major that you desire, you need to take steps to get there. So to follow the roadmap to college, you need to read. Firstly, the R stands for researching colleges, what majors they have, what kind of support services are offered, and specific deadlines and requirements. The E is for exploring the campus. So all CSU campuses have the option for a virtual tour. So you can check out the website if you can't make it there in person. But we also like to highly encourage you to go in person as well so you can get a feel for how the environment is like. The A in READ stands for acknowledging challenges and needs that you may be facing during this journey, such as financial needs, location concerns, or other responsibilities that you may have. And lastly, D is for discussing with counselors, family, or friends, speaking with your school counselor to ensure you're on track to graduate and get into college. You can also speak to pre-admissions at college counselors to make sure that all requirements are met before you apply, which is one of the options we have here at San Jose State. So as we proceed, I want to just start with some terms that you may or may not be familiar with, but are vital in the college exploration process. Now, if not all, but most of these institutions you will be exploring will be deadline driven, which means there are no exceptions or extensions for a missed deadline. In college application processing, if you miss a deadline, this could cost you your admission. Going to college is not an automatic transition as often it is when going from middle to high school. So when determining which college you want to go to, students must research if the school has their program of interest to major in, apply for admissions, meet the requirements, and then be offered admission if they meet those requirements. Then out of the schools that you are offered admission to, decide which one you'll pick to enroll in. So to be eligible for admission, the CSU looks at a student's A through G coursework, which we will talk about later in the presentation, and we'll also be covering the concept of impaction, which is essentially when a college campus receives more applications from eligible students than what we have seats available. So moving on to the California State University System, or CSU. So we have over 4,100 programs. We also have virtual campus tours on the website and pre-admissions counseling available. So the CSU system focuses on providing students with hands-on experience, opportunities for research, and preparing for workforce demands. As most of our majors require students to do internships before graduation, which gets them that hands-on experience in their desired career field. Now, if you're wondering how to get to a CSU, well, as a high school student currently, you need to ensure you're meeting all of those A through G requirements pictured right here. So history, social science, English, math, science, language, visual performing arts, and electives as well. So be sure to scan that QR code in the corner to see specifically which classes you may need depending on your grade level. It will also outline the process to get admitted into a CSU. So while all CSUs are in the same system, like San Jose State University is in the CSU system, each campus may vary in the majors and unique opportunities that are offered. So for SJSU specifically, we offer over 130 programs and concentrations. We're located in downtown San Jose. SJSU is the founding campus of the CSU system, and we are the oldest public university on the West Coast. So on screen are some of our unique programs. There's aviation, forensic science, aerospace engineering. Some of our students here are interested in engineering, computer science, business, and these are all renowned programs. We also have over 30 Spartan accelerated graduation education programs, which actually provide students with the opportunity to simultaneously get a degree, their bachelor's degree, and credit towards their master's degree. So you can actually find more information on all of the majors in our catalog. So as the original Silicon Valley startup, we are ranked number 3 most innovative among top public universities in the West. We continually evolve and innovate to provide students with unique opportunities for research, collaboration, and developing skills in a hands-on learning experience. So with over 160 years of excellence, we are ranked number 4 best public university in the nation and number 16 overall by the Wall Street Journal. And as a number 1 best value college among public universities in the nation, our impact on our Spartans continues with our undergraduates on average graduating with less than half of the average debt of California graduates. And San Jose State is also ranked by the Wall Street Journal as number 5 among public universities. So in addition to the affordability and the valuable experiences, students often choose San Jose State due to the location. So we are in close proximity to some of the largest tech companies such as Apple, Oracle, Microsoft, and many more. The majority of our programs actually require students to complete an internship before they graduate from San Jose State. While this does not guarantee employment, San Jose State is the top supplier of business, engineering, computer science, and education graduates to the Silicon Valley. Some of these programs are actually recognized by the Wall Street Journal as producing graduates earning some of the highest salaries nationally. Some of San Jose State's highlights on our campus can include our student union, which features many resources for students, eateries, our bookstore, and many more. When I was a student, I actually loved to grab food with my friends, study, chill there. There was just a lot of things to do always on campus and in the student union. We also have an amazing library that's shared by the city, and there's an amazing gym, our SRAC, which has pools and a rock climbing wall. There's also fitness classes offered there. So there's just a lot of opportunities you can take advantage of as a student. And then other amazing resources include our Hugh Gillis Theater and our recording studios. We also have a student-run radio station called 90.5 KSJS. So SJSU's campus life is actually really great. There's over 350 student organizations, fraternities, and sororities, and you can get involved in our student government or participate in different programs, clubs. There's a ton of events that are held too, such as the Weeks of Welcome to welcome our new students, our Spartan Speaker Series, where we meet celebrity keynote speakers or other famous keynote speakers as well. And we also offer career fairs. You can meet with employers. We have homecoming and a final study week and lots of other activities. There's even more to offer, such as our cultural centers, our accessible education center, food pantry, student success centers, and many more. There's a lot of resources to take advantage of when you decide to come to San Jose State. Now we're just going to dive into the freshman admission requirements, so how you can qualify to get into San Jose State. So to be able to enroll here at SJSU, you need to graduate with your high school diploma and receive a C minus or better in your A through G requirements. Your GPA must be a minimum of 2.5 for California residents. I would also like to emphasize meeting these requirements will not guarantee admission due to different eligibility index requirements every year and how San Jose State is an impacted campus. So the very last step you would have is to just apply at latest by December 1st. The first criteria we will look at today will be through the A through G courses, which remember you have to have a C minus or better in these requirements. When your students apply from October 1st to November 30th of their senior year, they will enter all the A through G requirements, the courses taken per the instructions of the application guide on the Cal State Apply website. And since they won't have their senior year grades at the time, on the 10th through 11th grade A through G courses will be used to determine the GPA for admission eligibility. So if a student meets admissions criteria, we will offer admission starting in February, March, and verify eligibility, including the senior year grades after they graduate. In addition to the GPA, the California State University system uses supplemental factors when determining the eligibility index score. So please note that these supplemental factors will vary between the 23 different CSU campuses and that we no longer use SAT or ACT tests to determine admission eligibility. So for San Jose State specifically, our supplemental factors that add additional points to the student's eligibility index score are if they are first gen, veteran or active duty, eligible for the fee waiver, or graduating from Santa Clara County High School. So students graduating from Santa Clara County High Schools also receive the local preference, which has historically taken the form of a 0.25 GPA boost. So if the student meets the minimum 2.5 GPA requirement, as we are a fully impacted campus, we cannot accept applications lower than these GPA thresholds. And then just going back to the impaction. So impaction is when the campus receives a greater number of applications from students that meet the minimum requirements than what we have seats available. So just to keep in mind, impaction does not mean impossible, as every major has a different EI or eligibility index score, which is subject to change per term, with GPAs ranging from 2.5 to 4.0. So when students are applying for admission, they indicate their first and their second choice major. And in order to be admitted here, students need to meet that EI score for that intended major. So this is the formula we use to calculate a student's eligibility index score with an example of the scores for fall 2025. Please note that the math GPA will also be calculated for students applying to any of the engineering programs. So more information as well as the scores for previous terms can be found on the Impaction website listed right there. And the supplemental factors for all 23 CSU campuses can also be found on the Cal State website. So there's the example of the formula. So 2.5 times 800, the eligibility index score would be 2000. And then it also factors in other supplemental factors as well. So this is just kind of dependent on your specific major and your situation. Now, if the student does not meet the EI score for the major they applied to, this is where the Spartan Eastside Promise can come in and be beneficial. So our Spartan Eastside Promise program launched back in 2016, and we support local students from the Eastside Union High School District. Whereas if a student does not meet the eligibility index score for their major, but meets all other program requirements, they will be offered admission to our undeclared major. So this program also offers programming to support the students and their families in the transition from high school to college. And more information can be found on our website at the very bottom right there. So this is a list of the schools where the Spartan Eastside Promise program is eligible for. If they graduate from one of these schools, they could be eligible for the program. And these are some examples of the services that the program provides to students and families, including pre-admissions counseling, both in person and on Zoom at the SJSU Welcome Center in person. That's also available through drop-in advising or through appointment. And as mentioned earlier, we also have our ESU HSD Spartan Summer Program, which supports our admitted students with the transition from high school, so after their senior year, into their freshman year of college. So we have guided hands-on activities, one-on-one check-ins to ensure students are on track and ready for their first semester. They also get a chance to see other students and meet some new students that are also coming from similar backgrounds. So students that attend this program also become eligible for the SESP scholarship, which is graciously provided by the Eastside Education Foundation and our generous community partners. So let's break this down. When applying for admission to San Jose State, you are applying to a specific major. Each major has a different eligibility index score. The previous year's scores are listed on our Impaction website. Your EI score for provisional admission consists of your 10th through 11th grade A through G GPA, which gets also points from the supplemental factors and that local preference if you're coming from a Santa Clara County high school, 0.25 GPA boost. So this is only received if you meet those minimum GPA requirements, which is at 2.5 GPA for California residents. So if a student does not meet the EI score for the major they're applying to, the application is withdrawn. But the students graduating from the SESP eligible schools, that list that you previously saw, that if they meet the requirements, which is that 2.75 A through G GPA and all the other requirements, they can also be guaranteed an offer of provisional admission to undeclared if they don't meet that eligibility index score for that specific major they're applying to, rather than the application being withdrawn. So for example, you have a 2.5 GPA, you get that 0.25 boost for being a local student, then your GPA is actually 2.75. So separate from the requirements, you could also explore how to earn college credit while you're still in high school through these ways. So the first being dual enrollment, or the opportunity to take free or low cost courses at a community college or at San Jose State while you're still in high school. You could also take AP or IB exams, which can give you college credit for college courses, and could actually take the opportunity away from doing those classes while you're in college. So then it could save you some time and give you other time to pursue other classes as well. And we also have CLEP exams, which are college level examination program to receive A through G and college credit. So the website to see the college credit articulation and test credit can be found on the screen right there if you want to see which classes articulate to what classes at San Jose State. And if you haven't had a chance to access any of these links, the slides will be available as well. So this is what your checklist for admissions looks like at this time. So it starts with meeting your counselor, your school counselor, your high school counselor, to ensure that you're on track, not only to graduate, but to meet those A through G requirements so you can be eligible to apply here at San Jose State. So as a reminder, while you have until your high school graduation date to complete the A through G requirements, you must also meet that 2.5 minimum GPA by the time you apply for admission, meaning the summer before your senior year is the last term that you will have to boost that GPA before application. Also, if you haven't taken that campus tour, please be sure to do so and to meet with a pre-admissions counselor should you have any further questions on the requirements and programs. So as Eastside students, you also have access to this really great tool called California College Guidance Initiative, or CCGI. So this helps students learn about colleges and plan for their future and explore a bit. So here's a video on how CCGI.
Back when I was a freshman, I never would have believed I'd have so many choices. School seemed like that conveyor belt at the grocery store checkout. You just ride on it till the end, and it dumps you off where you're supposed to go. In college, that never seemed like an option at all.
I remember sitting down with Javier in the guidance office. When I asked what he wanted to do, he shrugged. But when I asked what he enjoyed doing, he really opened up. Javier didn't see how his interest connected to jobs, so I walked him through a career assessment on californiacolleges.edu.
My dad's a mechanic, and I've always loved seeing how things work. The career assessment Ms. Hill had me do came back with jobs I'd never even thought of. Electrician, aircraft technician, even mechanical engineer.
Javier spent a lot of time on the career search tool researching what these jobs involved, what they paid, and what kind of education or training he'd need to get them.
One thing that they all had in common was that they needed more than just a high school diploma. To be a mechanical engineer, my best bet is a bachelor's degree, while an associate's degree could really help in becoming an aircraft technician. To be an electrician, I'd need to get certification.
Javier needed to find schools with specific programs, and he needed them to be affordable and close to home. The major search tool let him put in programs of study, then find colleges that offered them. He found 3 nearby. LA Trade Tech provides an electrician certification program. West LA College has an AS in aviation maintenance, and Cal State Northridge offers a BS in mechanical engineering.
All these schools required different things. If I wanted to be eligible for CSU, I'd have to meet A through G requirements. That meant passing a bunch of high school classes in different subjects, along with having the right GPA. I was already a junior, and I was worried I was way behind.
Calculating A through G eligibility by hand is confusing, but because the CSU and UC eligibility tools connect to Javier's actual transcript, figuring it out was a snap. I ran a report and found that Javier was just 2 units off track for CSU.
Ms. Hill helped me find a summer English course to get caught up, and I was able to test out a Spanish too. I even used the academic planner to plot out all my senior year courses and make sure I stayed on target.
Javier applied to 3 schools, CSU Northridge, West LA College, and LA Trade Tech. Since he used his californiacolleges.edu account to apply, I could track when each application was submitted.
The CSU application was the most intimidating because I had to enter all my A through G courses. What if I left something off or got a course name wrong? It turned out to be a breeze. californiacolleges.edu let me automatically import my A through G courses right from my account. It took 30 seconds, and it made sure I didn't make any mistakes that could hurt my eligibility.
By submitting his CCC Apply applications through californiacolleges.edu, his transcript data was automatically passed along with them. That way, LA Trade Tech and West LA College had the information they needed to properly place him in first-year English and math.
Applying was one thing. Figuring out how to pay for college was something else.
Javier applied to 3 different schools, but when I ran the financial aid application report, I could see he hadn't submitted a FAFSA or California Dream Act application. So I called him into the guidance office. I wanted him to know there was financial aid out there for him.
No one in my family had ever gone to college, so I had no idea how paying for it worked. I was freaking out about how I was going to be able to get loans for school or how I'd pay them off, even if I did. Ms. Hill pointed me to the financial aid lessons, which took me step by step through how financial aid worked and how to apply. Turned out I was eligible for a whole bunch of free grants and work study too.
Javier launched his financial aid application through his californiacolleges.edu account. That let us both track when it was submitted and whether the school had sent his GPA, so he could be eligible for a Cal grant.
So if you want to access CCGI, you first need to log into your ARMS account, and then you search for California colleges, and then use that Google sign-on. So if you want to do that later, you will have access to these slides, and you can follow along and try to explore this great resource. So once you're ready to apply, you can also launch that application here. You can utilize the lessons or planners on the CCGI website to see what majors could be a good fit. You're able to research majors, so the salaries of potential careers, and just kind of explore the multiple tools that are offered. So you can also click the My Plan right here to view your eligibility for CSUs and UC schools. You can then check your coursework and see how on track you are. So it'll actually pull your current classes to see if you're on the right path, meeting in those A through G classes to see if you're on track to get into college. So if the course is marked red, for example, in that picture, just please be sure to check in with your counselor and make sure that you're on track. Parents can actually also access this tool as well to help their students stay on track and get them admitted to that four-year university. So going to this bit.ly link that we have right here, you can access the slides and our resources that we shared in this presentation, or you could also scan that QR code. It'll have the slides, it'll have other relevant information regarding our program, getting college ready tip sheet, and different other resources from the East Side Foundation and us as a SESP program as well. So, for any other questions, please be sure to reach out at the Eastside Promise at sjsu.edu. We are available on email. You can also join us on our virtual front desk or visit us on campus. We have drop-ins or appointments available. So we actually hope to see you soon and assist you with that. We can also take any questions you may have right now. Okay, so one question we have, how can I apply in October of senior year if I don't have grades yet? So the application actually asks you to input all A through G classes taking up to that point and the grades that were received. So as well as the classes that you have planned or in progress for senior year. Since you don't have your senior year grades yet when you apply, you have to list those classes as in progress or planned, but don't include the progress report grades. So after 1 to 2 weeks after the application is received by San Jose State, we'll send you an email to activate that My SJSU account, which is the school portal that you'll need access to. And then through this account, we send messages about when and how to submit the transcripts. So the official transcripts once you are able to access that. That way we can review those transcripts. And typically the final transcript is requested by July 15th, unless otherwise indicated by your portal, the My SJSU. So another question, does the 0.25 GPA boost apply to students that graduate from other public high schools in Santa Clara County or just from ESU HSD? So the boost is for the local Santa Clara County high school, so they do get that boost. The specific benefit for the Eastside students is the program, the Spartan Eastside Promise program that's offered. So you are able to get admission to undeclared if you meet all other requirements, if you don't meet the specific major requirements that you had applied for. Okay, and then another question, if you were late and you missed the beginning of the presentation, where can you find the recording? So we will email this to all of the registrants that have registered for the Zoom webinar here today. And we will also post it to our website, which is on the screen right here. And that way you can access the recording and access the slides. You can reference them later. And of course, you can also email us if you have any other questions and our drop-in advising or appointments as well. Okay, let's see. So what are the consequences of getting admitted undeclared? There are not necessarily consequences. You are able to get admitted into San Jose State and still be able to switch into your major later on. So as long as you meet with your counselor, your advisor, that way you can get that plan started and just really get those requirements ready. You'll be on track. That's what I really recommend as an alumni. I try to meet my advisor every semester before I registered for classes just to ensure that I was on track, see if there's any ways that I could get a little further on track. Like I also took summer classes sometimes just to ensure that I would graduate within 4 years. So it just kind of depends on your own personal journey, just trying to figure out which major you're interested in and then meeting with your advisor regarding that. Okay, and then another question, how do I find out the admission requirements for your specific major? And what is the minimum GPA you need for admission? So just to reiterate, the GPA is 2.5 for the California residents applying as a freshman, but please be advised, since we are fully impacted, majors can have that different eligibility index score or even a different GPA requirement if it's a more popular program that is more impacted. So sometimes the scores are subject to change every single term. So just please be sure to visit that impaction page, sjsu.edu/admission/impaction to see the formula we use to calculate the EI scores. Okay, moving on. So do freshmen have to live on campus? No, they do not. But we do, for our orientation, have Sparta Camp. So usually students do stay one night on campus, since it is like a 2 day, 1 night orientation. Freshmen are, of course, allowed to live on campus, and we do have amazing residential buildings that you can definitely explore if you take that tour and take advantage of the resources we have here. So how much is housing at San Jose State? Housing does vary. It may depend on a lot of different factors. I can pull up that website for you so you can explore that. What determines the ability to switch to my specific major if the student enrolls as undeclared for freshman year? So you would need to ensure that you're doing well in those classes that are the prerequisites, so the required classes before you switch into your major, since typically the first 2 years you take your general education requirements, which are the requirements you need to meet, that all college students need to meet. And then once you're getting more into the major specific classes is really when you need to do well and make sure that you meet those requirements or exceed them in order to apply for that specific major. So I would just refer you back to the catalog to see the specific requirements for engineering, for example, since those scores can vary. Let's see. Does SJSU only support tech or STEM majors for the programs? So if you're referring to whether we have more resources and programs for STEM, no, we have a lot of different programs here that are offered, different opportunities, activities, resources that are for different majors. For example, from my experience in the business program, there was an honors program that I was a part of that I took advantage of, and I worked with different companies to develop marketing plans, work on their social media, work on their website. And it was real hands-on experience that I could apply and put on my resume. Since being a student, I didn't have a ton of real world experience yet, but putting that consultant experience on my resume was really valuable too. Okay, then there's a couple more questions that are a bit more specific. So after I graduate high school and my GPA is recalculated from 10th through 11th grade, does my impaction score also increase? If you're referring to the eligibility index score, it would just kind of depend on your personal situation. So I would just make sure that once you're able to check in with your school counselor to ensure you're on track, you can also check in with our pre-admissions counseling, and that way you can see where you are on your step to get to college and just make sure that you're going to meet that EI score eligibility, the minimum one for your desired major. Okay, I think that is all the questions. Or okay, let's see. Your presentation seemed to indicate undeclared is the result of not being able to get selected into the chosen major as long as the GPA is 2.75 or above, or can undeclared be students' first choice without choosing any major as a freshman. You are able to apply as undeclared as well. We're just emphasizing how if you are applying for a more impacted program, you can still get into San Jose State, but just as undeclared instead. Okay, well, there's a couple more questions. So it's the same exact, okay, so she's replying to Amanda. Um, and then, yeah, we will have the recording for this meeting available on our website, and we'll also be emailing out the recording to your emails if you registered with your email. Just be sure to access it. We have our website right here on the screen, so just be sure to go to the website and check the recording there if you don't have it through your email. Okay, so that does conclude the end of our presentation. If you have any other questions, feel free to stick around and enter them into the Q&A. But thank you so much for your time today, and have a great rest of your evening. Is the college application specific for San Jose State, or is there an application to different state? So you can actually apply through CSU Apply, and that's where you can pick different Cal State university campuses to apply to. So it's not specific for San Jose State, it's CSU Apply. Thank you so much for attending our webinar, Subhash. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please be sure to reach out to us on our email and then also access our website. We also have TikTok, SJSU Future Spartans, or follow us on Instagram where we do update our story and you can see different resources that we offer. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. Okay, so we'll give a couple more minutes for anyone that may still have questions or is sticking around. Okay, thank you everybody. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.